Hey everybody, it's me, Shallow360, and what a fucking morning this has been. So last night, the night of the 12th, I was on a hangout with Mason and Alex and Tarian and Jade, and the news came across the timeline that Chen is not only getting married, but he is expecting a baby. And of course, that is huge news for those of you who have been living under a K-pop rock. EXO is one of the premier groups in K-pop, and you can argue the point if you want to, you're wrong. I mean, they're a million seller group, so that means they are one of the premier groups in K-pop. It's just a fact. But for him to not only be coming out as the first member of the group to have a marriage on the way, but also to have a baby, and he hasn't enlisted yet, that is humongous news. I expect the enlistment news to be coming any moment, though. And it triggered a lot of thought for me, mostly how can I learn his fiance's ways, because obviously this is a master at work, and anything she does is the playbook by which all future generations should operate on, because there's a couple of things that she did here that I find extremely smart. Number one, she's been going with him for years. Like, they have been going together for a really long time, and there had been like photos that had come out of him and his girlfriend, and fans who are deep in the fandom have known that Chen has had a girlfriend for a really long time, but she managed to keep it very low-key. She kept the spot from being blown up. She didn't expose him to the press. She didn't do any of the things that the Han So-hees of the world do. She didn't do any of the things that the Yu Chen's girlfriend of the world do. Like, she really did keep it like right here. Not only did she do that, but she somehow or another got him to be so emotionally invested in her that he didn't think that birth control or any kind of pregnancy prevention was necessary in their relationship. And that's humongous as well, because it's not like he has nothing on the line. Like, there have been a couple of fan sites already that have closed down because their image of a perfect idol is gone. But the fact that he's like, I want to have sex with you, okay, no big deal. But as a man of means, as any person of means, man, woman, whatever, if you have the ability to replicate, you should be taking precautions against that. You should be using condoms, you should have birth control, like, a lot of things should happen. So for her to make him comfortable enough that he felt like, you know what, we don't need a rubber tonight, baby. Like, you're in his mind, you're in his head, you are a master. I would like to learn from you. Do you have a Skillshare coming up? But yeah, it's big news. It is really big news. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for her. I know their baby's going to be very well taken care of. I'm probably more happy for her than I am for him. But it also brings up a lot of questions about, like, what is the future of EXO now they have a member that's not only getting married but having a baby? Like, in terms of the sexy concept, men are allowed to be sexy after their partners have had children. Women, this would be the end of her idol career. So there's a bit of sexism that needs to be addressed, obviously. But what does this mean for the image of EXO moving forward? Are they going to move into their Super Junior suit and tie phase now? Like, I really don't know. Also, the press has been very kind to her, but they have questioned him on, like, why would you put this kind of burden on your group? Why wouldn't you act smarter? Which, it doesn't send a great message to the kids who watch EXO as a group, like, hey, I'm having premarital sex and I'm not using birth control. One of the netizens said, I don't think that we're opposed to his marriage. We're opposed to the fact that this is compiled with a pregnancy announcement. And I have to say, I kind of agree with that. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have your life the way you want it, but I will say, I think if a year ago he had said, I've met the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and we're getting married, and they didn't have any kind of pregnancy coming on or nothing like that, we just want to get married, I think it would have been really hard for anybody to argue against that and be like, this doesn't seem right, this seems shotgunny, because they'd be thinking, okay, well, if there's nothing on the line and this is just really a move out of love, great for y'all. But the fact that it's a pregnancy, all of a sudden it's like, she trapped him, which, I mean, by saying that she's a master, I guess I'm feeding into the trap narrative, but she trapped him, this is a shotgun wedding, they might not really be in love, we can't wait for this to break up, like, all of these things because of the fact that it is announced at the same time with a pregnancy. So, I hate that for him. I feel like this probably could have been navigated a little bit better, especially because the wording of his letter was like, while we were planning for a marriage, we received a blessing. It kind of feels like, you're trying to make it seem nicer than what it really was. Like, oh shit, we're having a baby, we better go ahead and make this legal. But still, congratulations to the both of them, and congratulations for the child that they're having. Other big news that came across the timeline was that Monsta X is expanding their tour in the United States, and they are going to be coming to where I live. Not like where I literally live, but like they're going to be within driving distance of me. So I'm going to try to go with my new K-pop local, and I'm excited for that. I think it'll be fun. I'm trying to think what else was in the timeline. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. A lot of rumors. Now that Chen has said that he's getting married, people are like, he's already gotten married. The baby is 7 months old. He's going to be enlisting tomorrow. Like, a whole bunch of other stuff has come out. So, like, strange. But can we all ask the most important question out of all of this? Dispatch. Where the fuck were you? Everyone was waiting on January 1st for Dispatch to reveal the couple of the year. This is the couple of the year thus far. And Dispatch, all you had was like, we could roll out Changmin, but not really. Dispatch, I'm disappointed in you. This was your time to shine, and you failed me. On other news, Parasite got nominated for Best Picture at the 2020 Oscars, and that is amazing to me because Parasite really is the best movie I watched this year, or watched in 2019, bar none. And I've had discussions with different people about what they liked about Parasite, what they didn't like about Parasite, whether it was overhyped or underhyped. I now realize very specifically the reason why I love Parasite so much. It is because it literally is telling my life story. So I grew up with a stepfather who was in love with rich people. Like, he had these wealthy old men that he would make friends with, and he would buy them coffee, and he would be like, yeah, it's my good friend Warren who owns the Discount Tire, and all this other stuff. And growing up, my dad always made it seem like rich people were like so much better people. Like, they were better friends to have. He treated his rich friends better than he treated his not rich friends. And so, like, I was used to living in a household with somebody who just totally worshiped rich people. But even outside of that, like, always feeling like you had access to less. Always feeling like your potential was diminished because you didn't have rich people means. And I remember going to college. This is the part of the movie that like really triggered me. Going to college, I had been living with my parents all during high school and everything else. And my parents were heavy smokers. And because they smoked so much, I got to the point where I couldn't really smell cigarette smoke. And I went to college, and my first roommate was like, you stink. And I'm like, what? I just took a bath. Like, what the hell? And she's like, you smell like old stale cigarettes. And that was the first time in my life that I became super self-conscious about smell. And even now, like in my old age, in my 40s, like I'm very cognizant of smell. Like I make sure that, you know, the perfumes I wear aren't too loud. I make sure that the lotions I use on my skin don't have a lot of scent, even down to like the soap I use. I'm very cognizant of like how my smell can be interpreted by people around me. And in the movie, that is a huge plot point, is smell. And I don't know, little things like that made it feel like it was telling my story. But one of the biggest things that I realized that was a plot point that really speaks to like the class differences in the world, the daughter of the rich family is obviously a dummy. And I'm not saying it like, you know, she's a dummy because she fell for this boy. I mean, like, literally her schoolwork, she's a dummy. She has common sense, but she's a dummy. The daughter of the poor family could literally do anything. Like, she could just read something on Wikipedia and all of a sudden come up with an entire story. She's quick on her feet. She's smart. She's planning. She's plotting. She's beautiful. She's everything that this rich girl would have been lucky to be. And she's the one that ends up coming to the worst end at the end of the movie. And the reason why that really stood out to me too is because it just goes to show, like, no matter how much potential you have, when you are poor, it doesn't matter. You still are relying on somebody with more means to give you a chance. Whether that more means is the government giving you student loans, whether it is grants and scholarships, whether it is a job where your employer decides that they see enough in you to send you back to school. but you're always reliant on somebody with more resources to share those resources with you in order for you to live up to your potential. Whereas if you're born into these resources, they're automatically there for you. So at that point, you can pursue whatever you want. Your future is yours. And as a parent, it made me super sad because I have a daughter and I know that I'm very limited as to what resources I can gift to her. And it makes me feel like I'm a worse parent in a lot of ways. So, I mean, Parasite it spoke to me on many, many different levels. And for that reason, I hope that, I know it's going to win Best Foreign Film. It has to. But I really hope it wins Picture of the Year because for me, it was a personal favorite because it spoke to so many things in my life. So really, really excited about that. And I don't know, I just think it's good that we're getting into a time where people can now look at movies and they can be like, okay, if I can read, I can make this movie work for me. And that's really important because so much of the bad decisions that the government makes, so many of the biases and stereotypes that people hold is for a lack of exposure. A lot of people believe stereotypes because in popular media, they don't have the time to explore a history of a people with you. Instead, they tell you, these are what all the people from this place are like. There you go, let's keep the narrative moving. And by watching different movies from different countries, you start to pick up on nuances of culture. And then you start to see that, okay, well, maybe my worldview isn't the only worldview. Maybe my worldview could use a little tweaking, could use a little understanding, could use a little something. And that's why anime is so important. That's why K-pop is so important. That is why the internet is so important, because it gives us an opportunity to finally see something outside of ourselves and, realize that we're not the be-all and end-all. It doesn't start and begin with us. So I hope this starts a new trend, a new wave. I hope that it definitely at the very minimum encourages some people to maybe do a little bit of investigating, maybe get into some things that they're not used to. But what it's really going to lead to is a bunch of American remakes of Korean intellectual property, and that's the sad outcome of this. If this movie wins Best Picture, you're going to see Parasite remade for America. You're going to see his other movies remade for America. You're going to see, again, trying to dumb it down. Because it's easier for them to go ahead and remake it using American characters or European characters than to try to, again, take on the nuances of a different culture and try to get you to understand that. So it is what it is, but I just wanted to come and talk to you guys about everything because it was such a whirlwind of a day so far, and we needed to talk about that. I would have talked about it on a live stream, but I didn't want to because I feel like I've said everything I need to say about the Chen situation. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I talk about it because it was really important to me, because this is huge news. As a group that I saw debut, like I didn't see them like in person, but like a group that I was into K-pop when they debuted, this is the first debut group that I've had in my K-pop life that now has a marriage and a baby on the way. So yeah, my fandom has matured extremely, and it's just really weird. Oh my gosh, if Onew comes out the military with a baby and a wife, oh my gosh, I can't wait for Onew to have children. Like, out of all the members of SHINee, I feel like Onew's babies will be the cutest babies on earth, because Onew's baby photos are fucking precious. If you've never seen them, you've got to look at them. He is so chunky and adorable. But anyway, I gotta go. I gotta pick up lunch for some people in my office, and I'm in the parking lot of the Jimmy John's wasting time. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.